Well, we're going to have to do the candid hangout for a minute.
A minute, yeah. Just 1 minute.
No, not 1 minute. Like.
While people start piling in?
Yeah, I've seen the candid go on. What is her name? Loey.
Uh-huh.
Hi, my name is Loey. Oh, hi, hello, my name is Loey.
Oh.
Yeah, she's.
Oh, hi, hello, my name is Loey.
I gotta mute that.
Oh, hi, hello, my name is Loey.
Whoa. I've seen her go on for like 30 minutes before her live stream actually starts. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we probably won't do that because it is noon. Good morning, DFW. Hello, everybody. Specifically, that's so Lacey. Glad you're here. Ooh, DNA Live. Any fun? Oh, yeah.
All right.
Any fun personal fish projects this weekend? I'll be moving some plants from my snail and shrimp tank to my 50-gallon. Holy moly. That's going to be awesome for them.
They just got new floors.
Oh.
That they could get their tank in.
Nice. Do we have any personal fish projects? Yes. They are working on their next long-form screensaver video. Do we want to spoil what it might be about? No spoilers here. So definitely keep an eye out for that next Friday. Super exciting. Hello, Dallas Aquascaping guy, our friends over at DAG. What's up?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
All right. So today is a Q&A. I'm going to give it a few minutes to let people kind of trickle in. Aragon Wolf Dragon, what's up? About to get some fish from you all in hopefully a few weeks. Woohoo! That's exciting. We got a lot to choose from, and we got a couple of shipments coming in that I think you could be excited about. Are you looking at freshwater or salt? Yes, we are excited too. Super excited. Maybe too excited. I'm jittery. Saltwater. All right. Very cool. Fish only, reef. What are we talking? New wood floors. Woohoo! So I can prepare for the 200-ish freshwater in a couple months. Thinking about that super cool sump liner. Yes, I know. Something that Planet's been doing recently is lining the inside of their cabinetry. That way, when you put your sump down there, you're not having to worry about water damage nearly as much. Something we notice whenever we pull tanks out of people's homes is that the bottoms are always just rotted out. So that's something that we've noticed that Planet is now being proactive about, which is super, super cool. Porcupine and Valentini puffers. So definitely fish only. Very exciting. That's awesome. We do have a couple, actually. So I think you'll be happy with the selection. In a couple of weeks, we'll definitely have some more, too. So definitely something to keep an eye out. Maybe I'll feature a couple of them in our next couple of social media videos so you can get a good look at them before you come up here. I know that before Planet, they had done some painting where it was like a rubbery liner. Are they still doing the paint, or is it like an actual lay down mat? Do you know?
It's a removable mat.
That's nice.
Actually, I think that they built this. I don't know how they got it in the stand unless they had the stand and built it around it.
Built around it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it is a rubber mat.
Nice. Good. Love proactive products. Exactly. I agree. Line the whole house. At least the path between the water room and then the actual fish room, right? So that way, when you're hauling those jugs back and forth, you're not soaking your floors.
Man, if I had a dream house, it would be like stained concrete floors
yes,
with floor drains, and then those rubber what is it? Kick plates?
Kick plates. Yeah. Yes. Just all protective.
Yes. Yeah. And then I could just squeegee my house.
Yeah. Welcome in, Kyle. What's up? I lined the bottom of mine with pond liner under the sump for that reason. Glad to see a manufacturer starting to implement it. Exactly. I've definitely all of my rack at my house has a shelving that's supposed to be waterproof as well that I stapled to each of the shelving units. I had to replace the wood too because it came with this MDF, which was super absorbent. And so I swapped it out for an ODF, which is a lot less absorbent, and then lined it with that liner. So being smart ahead of time is super important. Welcome, Miguel. Hello. And Kim, how's it going? Welcome in. Again, this is a Q&A. We do have some questions prepared in case you guys don't have any questions for us, but please feel free at any point to launch a question at us. We would love to be asking or answering y'all's questions as opposed to the ones that AI gave us. So I have plastic trays under my canister filters. Very smart, because then you can take the canister filter out, take the tray out, dump it out, rinse it, boom, done.
That reminds me, I do too.
Really?
I have one of those round crawfish trays.
Oh, smart.
Yeah,
smart.
Underneath mine. I thought about if I ever like upgraded and put in a freshwater sump using Flex Seal to Flex Seal the hole underneath.
I don't see why that wouldn't work. I think we've done that before, doing like special requests whenever we take folks
Installs.
aquariums out there. Yeah, before they were doing the lining at all, we would do a layer of Flex Seal, and that would help a lot.
That's cool.
Are Amazon swords a fast or slow growing plant? I've had mine in my 50 and they seem so friggin' slow, even though they're pretty. Yeah, so they're runners, so they do tend to bunch out a little bit, but then they break off and create clones to ultimately grow again. I have not had very fast growing Amazons, but I also don't run CO2. I imagine if you start cranking CO2 in there, you probably see a lot better growth, a lot faster growth. Just however we can bump up that photosynthetic process so it starts chugging through all the nutrients that we're providing for the tank, then we'll start to see a lot faster growth. So maybe check out CO2. I don't know if you're running that or not.
Well, and also they're root plants, so they're getting their nutrients from the substrate. So it also
liquid
depends
fertilizers,
on what type of fertilizer.
Not very handy. Yeah. Root tabs would be good, or replacing your planted substrate to kind of rejuvenate some of the nutrients available in it for sure. Had a quick question. Planning to get a red macroalgae for our tank. Would live rock be a good base for them, and what food do they need? So red macroalgae, specifically in my opinion, dragon's breath, feed almost exclusively on the nitrates and phosphates floating in the water column. Mine does really well because I have a filthy tank at home, and so it takes all of those nutrients out of the water. It is attached to a piece of live rock that I actually took the live rock seeing the algae, and so it should be able to attach just fine to the live rock if you want to use some fishing line or even some glue to kind of get that piece to stay, and then it'll grow out, and you should see a lot of success in that way. Just make sure that if you are struggling with keeping the tank a little bit dirty, dosing with something like neophos or neonitro can help get those levels up to an acceptable range. Again, you can overdose that, so be careful, but that's going to be how we feed our macroalgae. Neonitro and neophos are both Brightwell products that I know of, but there are other ways to dose the tank with nitrate and phosphate. Hello, Juan Estrada. Welcome to the chat. Again, just to reiterate, this is a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to launch them at us, as we're going to just kind of answer the questions as we go. Once we get a little bit further along in the video, we'll be starting our giveaway, which I'm sure is a big reason why a lot of you are here. You see this tank behind me here is an 87-gallon Crystaline aquarium, and it will be absolutely free to the winner of our giveaway. Is it possible to bring in subwasser tank plants? My shrimp and baby mysteries love it. You're in luck. I actually just took some in not but 10 minutes ago. Somebody brought some for us, and I think we've got 2 portions. So get in your car, Abby. Be quick. And it holds on.
Yeah, it does hold the Bacter AE really well.
Subwasser does?
Yeah.
Oh, explain that. What do you mean?
Because it's got so much surface area. When the Bacter AE blasts all over your tank,
right,
it'll settle on all that surface area.
Oh, that makes sense, because it's broad, like almost like an algae or like a seaweed, but then it's super. What's the word for it?
Bunch of.
I like how our hand signal is the same for subwasser tank.
Yeah.
Save it for me. I can send Eric. Okay. Do you know when you guys? Oh wait, how many bow ties do you have? Came first from Billy. I have 26. They're all fish related. This one, what am I wearing today? I don't even know anymore.
Seahorses.
So sometimes it depends on how I'm feeling, but most of the time I'm just rummaging around in my drawer in the dark, and it just whatever ends up coming out is what I'm wearing for that day. But I do have quite a few of them. It's hard to find fish related bow ties that will fit me, because almost all of them are specifically tailored for young children. But I have a small neck, so luckily I'm able to fit most of them. Do you know when you guys are getting the new Red Sea pumps and lights? I personally don't. That would be a good question for our dry goods manager, Jason. I do know that we've been talking about them, and we have some literature posted up in our break room about them. We just put out the new AI Hydra Edges, which is great. We've got one over our JRH tanks, which you guys, if you want to come in and take a look at, to kind of see what they look like. But as far as the new Red Sea pumps and lights, no estimated time quite yet. Which snails are best to keep as breeders to feed your pufferfish? Well, I think that bladder and ram's horn are going to be the fastest. I have 2 tanks specifically, and I know you have tanks that are overrun specifically to feed for. There is some crossover, and I do find bladder snails in my other tanks, but luckily I do have a pea puffer, so when I take them, I just bloop right over here, and problem solved.
Likewise, baby mystery snails.
True. If you want baby mystery snails work as well, they're also a lot prettier. So if they do manage to overrun or take over the tank, then that's actually kind of some sign that you could be looking at, as a lot of places, us included, will take those in on trade-in. And then you can have some store credit to work with to maybe get some more snails, more puffer fish. So mysteries are great if you want a side hustle. Bladder and pond if you need something quick and easy. Locating those two can be challenging because you can't actually sell them, as they are an invasive species, but
they are frequent hitchhikers on live plants.
Hitchhikers, exactly. So that should be an easy find otherwise. Any tips on green mandarins? Third one gone today. I am so sorry, Pamela. That's really hard. Did you spot feeding or copepods? Tank about 11 months old. So I always advise my customers that unless when you turn the lights out, you're not seeing that haze of copepods in the tank, it's probably not a good time for mandarins. At least these smaller, wild-caught, straight from the store mandarins. Sometimes you can get lucky and you get somebody who traded a mandarin in and they're eating frozen foods or even just live brine, and that could be awesome. Some of them will even eat live brine from being wild-caught, but making sure you have a very healthy, established tank with lots of copepods is ideal before you put a mandarin in there. Sometimes if you dose your tank with phytoplankton, that can feed the copepods and cause them to reproduce more quickly. So try dosing your tank with phyto before you decide to get a mandarin, and that will feed the critters that they're going to be feeding on. Does DNA sell MTS, or are they like ram's horn and considered pests? I have a million. We don't sell them. We do have them in a few tanks, but what I noticed with Malaysian trumpet snails, and Nick, I think you'll agree, their shells are a lot more tough. And so smaller puffers like pea puffers and even smaller Amazons have trouble breaking the shells, and they tend not to be interested. Bladder snails and ram's horns, you may notice that even when you're picking them out of your tank, you can actually accidentally crush them with your fingers. Malaysian trumpets, it's like assassin snails. They have a really hard calcareous shell that just doesn't really pique the interest of our puffers we've seen. No, baby mysteries, give them to me. I know. What are you running on your pink angel tank? First, oh gosh. If you took a peek under the hood on that planted show tank, you would see we have just about every piece of the Flourish line set up on a dosing system that's automatically being pumped into the tank.
Likewise, there's a 10-pound CO2 tank back there that is on a, what is a CO2?
Reactor.
There we go. There's the word.
So the reactor, runs it through a system so that it combines with the water before it goes into the tank, so we're not losing the bubbles of the CO2 to the air. So all of that CO2 that we're putting into the tank is being utilized by the plants, and so that's how you can see such a huge impact on the plant growth, is because of the excess in CO2. The amount of CO2, you can't even count the drops when it's bubbling past. It's just a constant stream. So we do go through that CO2 pretty quick, but as you guys have seen on our Instagram and our social media, that planted tank does very, very well. So we're doing something right. I could use some mystery snails myself. Yes, I think we could all use some mystery snails. Everybody loves a mystery snail. I think the TikTok effect definitely took a hold on mystery snails.
I was wondering what was going on, because
for sure
got a lot of them.
A lot. And I think it's, again, you see the parasnailing videos of them going up and flying down. That's almost always a mystery snail, right?
Yeah,
they're the gooberest of the goobers. But I think mystery snails have such great color too, and so that's a big part of why they're so popular, and their size too. Nereids, they're okay, but a mystery snail, I mean, golly, once they get big,
Yeah.
they're like almost like an apple snail. They're huge.
Almost.
MTS shells are like concrete. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. I've heard that zebra turbo snails can be put with porcupine puffers because of their hard shell. Would that be advisable to try out? Absolutely. And I agree. I would get larger mystery turbo snails. But they, like the Malaysian trumpets, have a very hard calcareous shell. So as long as the snail isn't caught sleeping, so for example, if it falls over and it's exposed its trap door, it's probably lunch. But if it's able to stay attached to a rock, attached to glass, cleaning, doing its job, then you probably won't have any issues with your porcupine snacking them up to a point. Porcupines get very big, and eventually we'll be able to snack on even the largest turbo snails. But until then, you should be set. I have 5 mystery clutches. Will they fall if I refill my tank?
Okay. No, just make sure that you refill to just below the clutch.
That's a good point. Why is that?
Because you don't want the clutch to get wet,
right?
But you want it to have enough humidity that it stays damp enough to where it doesn't dry out. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I'm a member of you guys and plan to get a puffer soon once our tank is cycled. Woohoo! We love puffers. Man, today is a puffer day. It seems like we're talking about pea puffers, Amazons, Valentinis, porcupines. They have so much personality. I personally love puffers as well. We have a pea puffer in our 5-gallon. She's all by her lonesome, but she's perfectly happy that way. She actually prefers it. She's killed just about everything else that we've tried to put in there.
Murder beans.
Murder beans. We named her Cheeto because she's a Cheeto puff. All of my names are stupid puns. I can't help it. I have blueberry, purple, and magenta if y'all want some for the store. Give an email to our livestock manager before you bring stuff up here. And this is for all of you listeners here. If you guys want to trade stuff in, we are happy to take it. But we want to make sure that we have space and we have the budget for it. So please reach out to our livestock manager, Kewen, at ksmith@dallasnorthaquarium.com. I'm going to say it again, ksmith@dallasnorthaquarium.com. That's if you want to order, if you want to trade in, anything to do with livestock, reach out to that man first so that he can give it the okay so that you don't run into issues here in the store. Nano skimmer suggestions. Oh, the shark. I love the shark. So, you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. The Ciche. So the new skimmer that Ciche came out with, very low profile, cubic, so it's really easy to fit into those all-in-one chambers and super easy to clean, easy to use. It has worked out of the box, and since we've started using it, the Ciche Shark 150 and the Shark 300, depending on your tank size, is an excellent nano skimmer, and I would try that one out. My favorite mystery color combo is magenta shell with a light foot. I have one named Maggie. I have a chestnut one named Chessie, and a couple chocolate ones named Coco, Chocolate, and Brownie. I'm seeing a theme here. Yeah. I like your naming scheme because it very much lines up with how I would name my snails as well. The magenta with the light foot is such a good color combo because it really highlights that purple shell.
For sure.
Love it. Love it. Super original. Yeah, very original. I agree. Will you give store credit for aquarium supplies as well, like decor and fake plants or just livestock? So that is a good question. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, most times no. So the reason for that is that we have been seeing an influx in aquariums and used equipment coming to our store recently. I think that may be just new year. People are cleaning things out, spring cleaning, but
maybe they upgraded their tank and they got to let go of their old stuff.
Exactly. And so we are just have excess right now. We couldn't possibly be taking in any more. Now, in a couple of months, when we're emptying our used section, absolutely. Again, that would be like reaching out to Kewen, but instead you're going to reach out to Sean. So S. Crawford at DallasNorthAquarium.com. Send him any requests. Say, hey, I've got a fish tank. Are you guys taking fish tanks right now? And he'll be able to give you an answer. Again, that's S. Crawford at DallasNorthAquarium.com. Just reach out to him. See what he says. I named them Gary. That makes sense.
Yeah. I had a Gary as well.
Yeah. Gary's a classic name. I named my rabbit snail Thumper because he would just kind of thump around the tank.
And he's a rabbit.
Yeah.
I
have a question for you.
What?
Yeah. So can you share some common mistakes that beginners make, and how would you avoid them?
So I'm noticing typical common, I wouldn't say mistakes, I'd say more little,
Oopsies.
you don't know what you don't know until you know what you know, right?
Right.
Cycling a new tank seems to be a rough one. Not everybody knows they're supposed to cycle a tank. But yeah, so making sure your tank is cycled, which if you're unaware what cycling a tank is where you make sure that your bacteria load can handle the waste load of whatever livestock you're putting in there, if it's plants or fish. So
and I think that's an important distinction that you made, handling the bioload you're going to put in there. Because you can put bacteria in there. TurboStart is great, but is TurboStart enough for what you're planning to do? We don't know. We usually want to give it time for that bacteria to culture. So that TurboStart, letting it sit for a little while. Turbo is great, but it's not instant start, So just give it some time.
Right, which leads me into the next snafu, which is overstocking your tank or stocking your tank too quickly.
Yeah.
So when you have a minimal amount of bacteria in a new tank and you go and you put 15 fish in there, well, this little bit of bacteria can't eat up all of this waste. So you end up with an ammonia spike, and then you have fish die off, which makes the ammonia go up again, even higher, and it turns this vicious cycle, and then we have to fill your tank for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And that's not fun for anybody.
No.
So
especially the fish.
Right, exactly. Overfeeding. So some people out there feeding 2-3 times a day, whereas some fish, that's cool. If you're feeding very tiny amounts, okay. But when we see, taking a nice healthy pinch 3 times a day, all of that extra food goes down into the substrate. And then if we're not siphoning our gravel with a gravel vac, then your phosphates are just steadily climbing up. We don't see it on the regular tests.
We don't test phosphates just, as a rule.
Right. So unless we get that additional phosphate test, we don't even know that it's climbing. And then all of a sudden something's going wrong. I've got algae. It's out of control. Well, your water looks fine. Maybe it's your light. No, let's test the phosphates. It's probably the sneaky guy.
You can definitely love your fish too much.
Yes.
I know they always look hungry, but that's because fish are opportunistic feeders. They're always going to be hungry. So make sure that you are being the responsible one in providing them a meal when they should be getting it.
Mm-hmm. And then also making sure that if you see food falling all the way down to your substrate, that you're going to go ahead and gravel vac. Another forgetting to change your carbon. A lot of times, we get busy. Every 4 to 6 weeks seems outrageous, but carbon does fill up. It's only porous to a certain point. After that, you just got the particles in your water just slipping past it. So go ahead and change your carbon every 4 to 6 weeks, and make sure that your impeller and your filters are clean and moving.
Yeah, not jammed with snail shells. The number of times I've heard that from my impeller, that's another snail shell.
Or sludge from decaying plant matter.
Yeah.
That'll bind it up as well.
Right.
So make sure you're taking your motors apart and cleaning your impellers. As far as beginners' mistakes,
I think that's a pretty solid covering of things that tend to happen on first-timer tanks. I've actually got a couple of questions lined up now, so that's perfect.
All right.
What is the next video idea for next week? So we've got 2 in the hopper. I'm not sure which one's coming next. Do you want to give a hint? Is it a long form or is it a how-to?
The next one is the long form.
Okay, sweet. We're getting another long form video for you guys, and this one is so good. I was watching it the other day, and I'm so excited. I think you guys will love it. So,
yeah. It'll be another screensaver.
Yes. Any suggestions on how to train pea puffers to eat scuds? So those clickers that they get for dogs, that doesn't work at all. So don't use that. But I've noticed that if I feed live brine, they're very enthused by the movement and the flavor of brine. So they will be more likely to take to that. If you do a couple of live brine feedings, boom, scuds are just an easy transition from that to the next. So try that. I have a couple of tanks that have scuds and other weird amphipods and stuff. And every time I throw them in there, she's so happy and excited to chase them down. Anything that wiggles is tons of fun for puffers. So I would try that. I heavily feed. Yeah, I know. We all are, subject to it sometimes. I have a tank that I specifically feed like crazy because it's full of frog bit and it's caught up in the roots, and then the plants eat that. So it seems like it's it's an old tank, so I can afford to kind of dump some food in there. And then there's so much cleanup crew. I'm kind of obsessed with bottom feeders. So most of them, it's coolie loaches, mini moth cats, cory cats, and then the highlight fish in there is peacock gudgeons. So that's a really cool one. Are frozen bloodworms good treats for porcupine puffers, or the online community seems conflicted? So bloodworms, in my opinion, are kind of a freshwater insect. You agree?
Yeah.
So I don't really, it's kind of realistic to feed them bloodworms. Plus bloodworms are kind of nutritionally devoid of some of the things that are especially necessary. As a treat, sure, maybe. You might be better off feeding live blackworms, but honestly, they're going to eat krill. They're going to eat clams. They're going to eat squid. So there's so many things you can feed them. There's no reason to be feeding them bloodworms, really. Advice on how to best siphon on a shrimp tank with a billion baby shrimp. Should I maybe use a wave maker to kick up the detritus into the water column before water changes? I'm going to pass that over to you.
This one is a rough one, as I had to kind of fashion my own siphon to be able to get into a shrimp tank without getting the babies. I use a siphon with a one of the fluval uptake tube.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
So I took one of our up tubes and I cut it and I put that on a piece of tubing, and then I put the sponge filter on the end of that.
So a shrimp catch.
Yeah, so that I don't suck up the baby shrimp.
Okay. And then, so do you take the sponge out in the water as you take the thing out, or how do you keep the baby shrimp?
Yeah.
They're probably getting.
Yeah, you take it off, drop it in the water,
and then do whatever else.
And then shake off the little sponge.
So essentially providing some sort of shrimp guard for your gravel siphon probably works a lot. That's a very good idea. There you go. Noobs always get big fish in small tanks too. We get excited. We see those big fish. They see the bright colors, and I have a 20 gallon. That's pretty big, especially people starting out. They see the fish bowl, so a 20 gallon seems huge. But you'll make that mistake sometimes, especially when you go to the fish store and all of them are babies. And so you're like, that's not a big fish. And then in 3 months, that fish is this big. So, it is a common mistake. And I think beginner mistake ties into your point before.
We try to ask, every customer when they're buying fish, what size tank you're getting. If we've got somebody who's got a 20 gallon and they've got an Oscar, we'll be like, are you planning on upgrading?
Yeah, that's our
this
first
guy's
question.
going to need to be in a much bigger tank. And usually they'll tell us, this is just while I'm setting up my.
Yeah, I'm cycling my 120 or something like that. Sometimes we get those, no, I wasn't planning to, and I was going to put 2 more angels in there too. Is that okay? And at that point, we have to pump the brakes and say, hey, I'm sorry, we cannot sell you those fish. We just have to make that call sometimes, and that can be tough. Especially, people don't want to hear that at the fish store.
No.
It's like if you were to go to Walmart
to sell you fish.
And you were to like, hey, can I get that milk? And like, no, you don't have a refrigerator. Sorry. Right?
Essentially, yeah.
All righty.
What's your refrigerator temperature set to?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's not enough to keep milk. Sorry, you can't have it. I agree that I love coming in to check out the new fish. I know, especially when we get fish shipments every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There's always something new to look at. Best store, hands down. Woohoo! Thank you for the praise. Everyone is so knowledgeable and always willing to help. That is true. We try to help as often as we can. Sometimes we get a little busy. It's a big fish store, and all hands on deck is definitely necessary sometimes. But we are always, always, always willing to help and answer questions as best we can. just built my stand and put my AIO and dry rock in it, getting water in next week. All right. Gonna cycle with dead shrimp from my daughter's shrimp tank. So excited for my first saltwater tank. Awesome. That little bit of ammonia is better than buying fishless fuel and you not wasting fish food by putting them in there. So that works. I've never thought to use, fish or shrimp that have passed to cycle another tank. But it all stands to reason. Yeah, if anything, that's a really good source of ammonia. Very smart, John.
Family's watching. Hi.
Look, Mom, I'm on TV. Fish really don't need as much food as people think. I have had multiple largemouth bass over 5 pounds, and they will graze on 100 minnows for well over a month. Exactly. And you can tell when you've been overfeeding your fish because you see that rotund, I've got a beta like that, honestly. And it's because I love him very much. But, you just have to kind of play by looking at your tank. And that's why it's so important to observe your tank every single day, because you're able to see, okay, my fish's stomach's a little sunken in. It's probably time to feed. Okay, my fish is a fat monster guy. So probably should feed a few less times a week. So yeah, definitely finding that balance can be tricky, but less is usually better. Love having you guys expand more into YouTube. I know, isn't that exciting? It's fun. I'm glad we're able to engage with our customers in a kind of a different format, in a different way. We're able to connect with you guys without having to have you guys drive all the way to the store. Something about, actually, I want to kind of touch on not having to drive all the way to the store. Something that DNA does, I know service sounds like, okay, these guys come out to clean my tank, right? But I like to think of it more as a DNA subscription, because what we also do is we help you avoid the trips to the store. Our service techs can bring you fish, they can bring you food, and they will charge that to the service bill. So not only you don't have to make the payment immediately, you can make the payment when your service guys come out there. So it's another way that we can help connect our community without having them make the trip to us. And that helps us from expanding out and dividing our attention among other stores, because we've definitely thought about it. Let's build a store over here, let's build a store over there, but that waters down the DNA experience, especially in my opinion. So I like that we have our big box store, but we can connect to you guys by our DNA subscription. So definitely, if you even if you have a 20-gallon tank, we service tanks all over the place and all over the size. So just reach out, see if it's worth your while. It may be. For 200-ish gallon, we plan to get soon an Aquarium or Planet. I like the glass top bracket on the Planets. They seem more sturdy. So it's kind of a loaded question. Planet is obviously going to be better, but you're going to be paying a lot more for it. Planet has a better build quality. They have better glass. And they all have a better warranty. Well, they don't really have a better warranty policy, but you don't need it. And that's the trick. The cross beams that they have are very sturdy. The glass tops that work with their tanks are solid quality. So Planet,
they can build on site too.
And yes, they are here in DFW, so they can build where you need them. And they also make all the cabinetry. So they're able to make custom stands, custom tanks. So it's a hard question because obviously Planet, but Aquarium makes a solid tank. And they have a great warranty policy, and they've been around forever. So Aquarium is a great bang for your buck, so don't count them out for sure. Y'all have a great day. I'm back to class. All right, see you, Billy. Thanks for joining us. Love having you guys expand. Oh, I already read that one. Planet for sure. Yeah, I agree, Marcus. Would frogbit be as good a floater in a saltwater tank, or which floating plant do you recommend? You'd have to find a macroalgae. I don't know if there's any saltwater plant that would work as a floater. The only saltwater plant I know of is obviously the mangrove. I can't think of anything that would even consider brackish,
Just that mangrove.
Yeah, mangroves are the only plants that I know of that tolerate salt.
Or algae, seaweeds.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's when I would consider, like Chaeto and
Dragon's
breath and Caulerpa and
Caulerpa's cool.
I know, yeah, grapeseed Caulerpa especially.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's options, but they're more macroalgae than like plants proper.
You could actually do an entire what looks like a planted tank with macroalgae because there's so many different types. You could actually aquascape macroalgae, which would look really cool.
I've seen some garden eel tanks that have like grasses and stuff that you'd straight up think it was freshwater if you didn't know any better. They can bring supplies. Yes, they can bring supplies. So that's such a huge part, I think, that we don't really mention enough of, is that it's not just cleaning. We will rescape. We will bring out seasonal decorations. So if you have a fall scape and it's spring now, let's take that scape out, set it aside for you, and then let's put the new scape in there that's got the greens and the pinks and the more springy colors. You know what I mean? Y'all should come see the DFW APC at DNA. Yes, definitely. Our friends at DFW APC and our Dallas Aquascaping group both do have a close tie to us. They have a special discount. So if you guys wanted to join their group, definitely worth checking out. And sometimes
they find their group
on Facebook. Sorry. Yeah, that's important. So definitely check them out on Facebook, as that's somewhere where you guys can directly engage with them and join their membership. And then sometimes they do meets. So you guys can do a plant swap. And people will bring their cuttings and trade them in for others. And it was a whole, check out our Instagram post on it, because there was actually a ton of attendance. And the plants that they had were extravagant, honestly. It was really cool. Do any of your fish have a warranty like other pet stores do, like a 7-day death or illness warranty? So I'm not entirely sure. If I know of a fish store that has a 7-day policy, maybe PetSmart and Petco have the moolah to be able to handle something like that. But we do have a warranty. It is a 48-hour policy. In the event that the fish is no good, bring the fish body back and a separate sample of the water, full credit back, or a swap for the fish, no questions asked, should the water test come back fine.
Likewise, if you take a fish home and you notice within that 48 hours that its personality does not match with your fish's personality, we can't fault you for that. So you go ahead and bring that little guy back.
Yeah. Now, bring it back sooner than later, because if they are bullying each other and the fish does pass and it's outside of that 48-hour policy, it makes it extremely difficult for us to be able to honor that policy, as it is a lot easier to return a live fish than it is a dead one. Do any of your, I already read that one. Will you be at the DFW AA Aquatic Con tomorrow? DNA will not. I do know that I think some of our associates will be there in cities, just to attend themselves. We will not be engaging in the DFW AA. Okay, I think you guys have waited long enough. I know you guys have been waiting on bated breath to see who is going to get this fish tank. So we're going to start it. I'm going to ask you guys a question. This is going to be a radio style giveaway. First person to call my line and give me the correct answer to that question gets the fish tank. Easy peasy. What's the phone number? Oh yeah, probably should put that up somewhere. There we go. That works. Can I put this up close enough that they can actually read it?
I don't know.
That's me.
Backwards? No.
No, I know. I thought so too. So can you just hold that right there? Perfect. Can you guys read the number? I want you guys to give me a phone call, and here is your question. DNA has launched a new series of long-form species-specific videos. I want to know, what was the second species we highlighted in that series? First person to call with the answer gets the fish tank. All right, I'm going to put it in the chat so people can see it. Hold on. I need to give you... It is 972-492-6165. The question again is, we have started a new series of long-form species-related videos. I want to know the second species highlighted in that series. First person to call my line with the answer wins an 87-gallon rimless Crystaline fish tank. Reef ready, by the way. Or it can be plugged if you want to do freshwater. Last time I'll ask the question, Dallas North Aquarium has started a new series of long-form video essays, a type of screensaver type video. I want to know the second species highlighted in those long-form videos. First person to call this 972-492-6165 with the correct answer wins the tank. Does Nix's interpretive dance come with the purchase?
I found this on the web.
Yes.
Yes, it does. So, interpretive dancing.
All right.
All right. The phone number again is 972-492-6165. Lines are open. First person to give me an answer wins the fish tank. I guess nobody has us on speed dial.
Or they're flipping through the videos.
Probably.
Oh.
All right.
Letting
I'm having our front desk check and make sure that that's not somebody asking how to fix their beta.
or if we have any celestial pearl Danios.
Yes. Nope. It was somebody asking about celestial pearl Daniels. Cannot read the numbers. We put that in there for you. It is our main line, 972-492-6165. We've posted a series of long-form species-specific videos. I want to know the second species that we highlighted in that series. Got another phone call coming in. OMG, there's 2 coming up.
Yes, I have 2 scheduled.
Oh, really?
I have 2.
It shows what's scheduled?
Huh. No, it shouldn't.
I wonder if they're talking about phone numbers. Going to 2 plant swaps.
Oh, I was like, what? How
Yeah.
did they know?
I know. Okay, yes, they do have the 2 plant swaps coming up pretty soon.
Nope.
I don't think so.
They needed to know if we have whisker shrimp.
Yes,
Feeder shrimp.
Feeders, yep.
Oh, that's a fun fact. Our feeder shrimp, though commonly called ghost shrimp, they are not actually ghost shrimp. They're going to be freshwater prawns, so they're whisker shrimp. They'll grow pretty big, and they get a little aggressive if they're not eaten.
Mm-hmm.
We got a call out button.
All right, caller on line 1. I will take that.
Okay.
All right, caller, you are online. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Who am I talking to?
This is Abby.
Hi,
Abby.
And where are you located?
I'm in Frisco.
Oh, you're in Frisco, so you're nearby. So
Yeah.
I'll ask you the question again. We have a series of long-form, species-specific videos that we've just started. What is the second species that we highlighted in our long-form video?
This is the Odessa Bar.
It is the Odessa Barbs! Woo! All right. Congratulations, Abby. You're a winner. All right. So I am glad you got your brand new floors put in because you're going to need it to be able to have an 87-gallon fish tank in a nice primo spot in your house. That's going to be awesome. I'm happy for you, Abby.
Number 6 is going to fly really well with my husband.
Oh, yeah.
Well, free is a lot easier to pitch, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much for giving us a call. It was great to hear from you, Abby. And
we'll see you soon.
congratulations. We will see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good weekend.
You too.
All right.
you
Thank
too.
you, Abby.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was
That
awesome.
was cool.
Okay. Woo.
Line 2 also wanted to call in about it.
Okie dokie. That's great. I'll talk to them in a moment.
Okay.
All right, you guys. So we do have a couple of our lines lighting up as they would as people are trying to get in as quickly as possible. Abby is our winner today, and they will be taking home that 87-gallon Crystaline tank. Super stellar fish tank, reef ready, ready to go. Maybe that'll push Abby to start getting in saltwater. Maybe. All right. It was so much fun hanging out with you guys. I've got a couple more phone calls to take because it seems like you guys are all on the line, and I'd love to talk to every single one of you. So I'm going to get off here. Thank you so much for your guys' questions. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
How do I turn this off?
Oh.
Oh, end stream. Oh, I got to push end again.